Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in for our last webinar of this webinar series. Today, we will be discussing the Whole30 diet, the Paleo diet, and the Carnivore diet for weight management in elite athletes. My name is Addie Lears. I'm a graduate student at Concordia College, Moorhead, Minnesota. This topic is what I did my capstone research on. So we'll just be discussing each of these three diets. So to start, we have our learning objectives. Objective one will be to define the Whole30 diet, the Paleo diet, and the Carnivore diet in terms of weight management. Objective two, be aware of the research that currently exists on the use of these three diets to assist with weight loss. And objective three, understand the impact that the Whole30 diet, the Paleo diet, and the Carnivore diet can have on body composition and athletic performance. So you may or may not have heard of these three diets. So we're just going to go into some definitions of them to start. With the Whole30 diet, this diet is actually not intended for weight management purposes. Rather, it's to reset one's body. So the main objective of this diet is that you are cutting out a lot of foods that contribute to symptoms of food allergies, intolerances, sensitivities, and inflammation for 30 days. So basically what you're eating for those 30 days, it's fruits and vegetables, eggs, lean proteins, natural fats, and nuts. After those 30 days are up, you're going to start reintroducing those foods that you eliminated to see which ones kind of cause any, symptoms or intolerances. So again, it's not meant to be followed long term, only for those 30 days. Switching our focus to the paleo diet, this diet is based on foods that humans ate in the Paleolithic era. So it really emphasizes consumption of fruits, vegetables, lean meats, fish, eggs, nuts, and seeds, but it either limits or excludes any foods that come from farming, refining, and processing. So that means that grains, legumes, and dairy products are limited or even excluded from this diet. Last up, we have the carnivore diet. So, this is the most restrictive diet of all three of these. It is a diet centered around the consumption of meat and animal products while excluding every other food group. So, that means, fruits, vegetables, dairy, grains, all eliminated. It really is just meat and animal products like eggs. Now that we have the definitions covered, let's jump into the research that is actually available on these three diets. Today, we're just going to be looking at weight loss, though, because typically these diets really aren't used for weight gain or weight maintenance ever. So, we're going to start with the Whole30 diet. You'll find that the creators of this diet claim that the Whole30 diet can eliminate inflammation, restore metabolism, and even cure diseases. However, if you actually look at the research that's out there, none of these claims can be supported by any evidence based research. Throw on top of that, none of the effects of the Whole30 diet on elite athletes have been studied. So we really don't have any idea how this diet could affect body composition and performance. That being said, we have our key takeaways here for our Whole30 diet for weight loss. Again, no research is available to back any of the health claims that the creators of this diet have come up with, nor have any studies examined the diet's effect in an athlete population. And this diet isn't intended to be used long term. It's called the Whole30 diet for a reason. You're only supposed to follow it for 30 days and then start reintroducing those foods you eliminated. It also eliminates entire food groups, so dairy and grains, which could influence performance in a negative way. So taking, how restrictive this diet is, and also it's not meant to be used long term. This Whole30 diet is not recommended for athletes who are interested in weight loss. Looking at our next diet here, we'll have the paleo diet. So, unlike the Whole30 diet, the paleo diet actually has some research out on it. A review published in 2021 found that the paleo diet, as a short term dietary intervention, has shown some favorable effects in healthy and non healthy adults. So, kind of helping with reducing body weight and improving risk factors for chronic diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, obesity. However, I really want to point out that this is just short-term dietary interventions. No long-term studies have been conducted. Therefore, we don't know what would happen to body composition or performance for months if this diet was followed. On top of that, this diet hasn't even been examined in athlete populations. So we really don't have any idea kind of the detrimental effects it could have to your performance. Therefore, taking away all of those key points, again, the paleo diet has just been shown to be a short-term dietary intervention to have those positive effects, but only in the general public and on several disease states. So again, no long-term studies have been conducted, nor have they been conducted in athlete populations. Taken with how restrictive this diet is, and you're excluding those grains, legumes, and dairy. It's really restrictive. It's not something that maybe can be followed long term, and it really could impact your performance in a negative way. That being said, this diet should be proceeded with caution as the research is really lacking, and this diet could have, detrimental effects on your performance. Last up to talk about, we have the research on the carnivore diet for weight loss. So, although some may argue that the carnivore diet can improve things like mood, blood sugar regulation, and contribute to weight loss, there is absolutely no research on this diet to support these claims. Throw on top of that, again, no research has been conducted in athlete populations, so we don't know how this diet would affect body composition or performance. Throwing it all together, yes, protein intake, is so important, especially for you as an athlete. However, taken with how restrictive the carnivore diet is, you're eliminating every other food group other than meat and animal products. This could really lead to negative health consequences. For sure, things like nutrient deficiencies would be common with this diet, and nutrient deficiencies really could impact your performance in a negative way. Also, there's no research to back up any of the health claims from this diet, nor have any studies examined the carnivore diet in athletes. Therefore, it is recommended that athletes should not follow the carnivore diet, especially until research is available on the safety and effectiveness of this diet. So let's put it all together for the Whole30 diet, the paleo diet, and the carnivore diet. All three of these diets are restrictive. They're restricting some food group or many food groups like the carnivore diet, which could lead to negative health consequences, which could influence your performance. So, take on top of that, many of these diets claims are not backed by evidence-based research. So we really don't know the effects that these diets have, even in the general public, let alone elite athlete population. The only diet that does have some research on it is the paleo diet. But again, I would like to point out those were short-term intervention studies, not long-term intervention studies. So if you're wanting to follow this diet long-term to really kind of implement in your weight management plan, we don't know what would happen. So really, the safetiness and effectiveness of all three of these diets are not known. Therefore, these diets should not be followed in the athlete population until any long-term intervention studies are available. So, important things to consider before starting the Whole30 diet, the paleo diet, or the carnivore diet. Again, nutrient deficiencies may occur along with other possible adverse symptoms. So, low energy, fatigue, extreme cravings, gastrointestinal distress. So, your stomach hurting, cramps, all of that could affect your performance in a negative way. Also, you really have to think, what foods would you be missing from your diet? Think of the carnivore diet, how many foods you cannot eat. Even the paleo diet or the Whole30 diet that, aren't as restrictive as the carnivore diet, but again, still are excluding whole food groups. And then this just flows into the next question. Could you follow this diet long term? Or is it like the Whole30 diet, which is only meant to be followed for 30 days? Again, you really have to put that into perspective and think, is this diet going to fit into my current lifestyle? And then, as always, discuss your weight management plan with your sports dietitian before starting any of these diets. So, questions, contact me at my email, addison.lears99@gmail.com. And then we have some references. So, feel free to follow any of these links to go look at these diets in a little bit more depth. And then we have our webinar assessment tool. So feel free to press pause and you can jot down your answers here for these 5 questions. Once you're ready, hit play and the answers will be shown on the next 2 slides. Would also like to point out that we're at the end of this webinar series. So there is a webinar series assessment tool. This is a great way for you to assess just how much you've learned or retained from this webinar series. You can find that by following the link within this playlist to go to the link that says webinar series assessment tool for athletes. That'll take you to the PowerPoint presentation and it'll have all the questions on there as well as instructions. But as always, have a great rest of your day and thanks for watching.